Joining me right now is Missouri Congressman Jason Smith. He is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. Mr. Chairman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
It's great to be with you, Maria.
So tell me your priorities and when this debt discussion starts taking place. I know it's been ongoing, but when do you expect you're actually going to hear some compromise?
You know, we've been having conversations for weeks now, and we just finished our congressional retreat with House Republicans, had some incredible panels of discussion talking about the debt limit and getting everyone together. You know, the way that we can best turn around this country is if we get our fiscal insanity under control. And that is making sure a debt limit cuts spending, it caps spending, and it also grows the economy. That's the focus that we're trying to move towards, and we're going to get there.
Well, how do you get there? The last time we spoke, we talked about the Republicans potentially using the appropriations process. You've got 12 appropriations bills. Will you be able to hold back funding in order to get what you want, funding on federal agencies, for example? What are your plans?
Well, we have no red lines in the sand, but we have to look at everything because, as you know, the appropriations process makes up roughly 29% of the entire spending. The other 71% is mandatory spending. Then think about all the executive orders that this administration has spent. Just last year alone, out of the 500-plus executive orders that Joe Biden created, 7 of those 500 cost more than $1 trillion. And that's with the T, Maria.
Wow.
Those are the things that we have to rein in. The REINS Act, for example, is a great way to keep the bureaucracy under control. I think work requirements helps with labor shortage. There's so many tools at our disposal that we're looking at to make sure we turn this economy around for the American people.
But in the meanwhile, we're seeing warning signs everywhere. How does this most recent bank stress layer on to all of this and pressure the situation even more? I mean, you got the Treasury now saying that it might not have a clear picture of when the U.S. will run out of money to pay the federal government's bills until after the tax filing season. So what are we talking about then? May? And what does that mean in terms of where we are with the macro story, given these new worries in the last few weeks over banks?
You know, the Secretary Yellen has said the first week in June. I do believe it actually goes back towards July, but we have to follow the words of Secretary Yellen. She's basically the absolute voice on when the cutoff and extraordinary measures are, but I still believe it's probably around July.
And the banks, how do you read what's going on with the stress on the banking sector right now?
Without a doubt, Maria, what's going on with the banks right now is a result of Joe Biden's inflation crisis, all of the reckless spending. We've seen interest rates now rise the fastest they've done in 15 years. And guess what? 15 years ago was the last time we had a bank crisis, back in 2008, and it led to a horrible recession, the worst recession for most of us in our lifetimes. Unfortunately, what created this interest rate crisis is because of the reckless government spending of one-party Democrat rule of Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer.
It's amazing to me that they refuse to negotiate, though. Look, you're looking under every rock. You've also raised questions about the funding source for the Penn Biden Center. And I want to ask you about that, because in a letter to the university, you write, quote, the timing of the center's creation, along with the reported increase in foreign investment, appears to coincide with members of President Biden's family seeking business opportunities in China. So what happened here, Congressman?
You know, there's a lot of great concern. Myself and Congressman Murphy, who serves on the Ways and Means Committee with me, we have sent a couple letters now to the University of Penn to answer why are you investing in these companies that are on the U.S. government's watch list for adversarial companies. They admitted just over a year ago that they were invested in 3 of them. Now they're kind of sidewalking it, but we got to get down to it. You see all these universities with huge endowments that are tax-free, and then they're investing in companies that are beholden to China. We ain't having that.
So okay. China sends tens of millions of dollars to the Penn Biden Center. They create to the University of Pennsylvania. They create the Penn Biden Center, and President Biden gets paid for his relationship with the University of Pennsylvania, and then Penn invests in Chinese companies?
Yeah, exactly. That is that, and Chinese companies, 3 of them, in fact, they admitted to in a prior letter, 3 Chinese companies that are identified on the U.S. government adversarial list.
Unbelievable.
3 of them.
And why is Joe Biden not having a tougher stance against communist China? Could it be that they have so much on him that he just will not have a tough stance? I mean, after all, the list is long. You know, COVID-19 escaping from the lab and then the CCP covering it up. No investigation into COVID-19 and its origins. Intellectual property theft to the tune of close to $1 trillion stolen from American business. A surveillance balloon flying across our country over military installations. Surveillance from TikTok and other apps. Congressman, there's been no response to any of this from the White House.
You know, that's, Maria, what the points you just laid out are the points that the people I represent in Missouri share with me all the time. They cannot comprehend why Joe Biden and this administration is not pushing back on China's aggression on the United States unless there's something that is keeping them from doing that. And we need to get down to figure out what that something could be.
Yeah. All right, Congressman, we'll be watching all of that. Good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.